We like to play Ember because, I don't know if you guys noticed, but if you see a picture of Mickey later, you're gonna notice when he has a mustache, he kind of looks like Ember Spirit. Like even though Ember doesn't have a mustache, it's like weird. I don't know why, but he really looks like Ember. So we like picking Ember for him. Boxy is like an honorary member at his local bar, so Brewmaster is a natural fit. And I mean, I guess you can take the others.
I mean, I really like playing bottom, so I hit my arrows unlike Fata, so yeah. It's really nice playing bottom, and Aiden always sets me up with ST, so, you know, it was a good draft. I liked it.
The game is starting. This is the noise that Dota makes when the game starts.
We're pushing high ground.
No, they're pushing high ground.
Oh,
We're defending our base.
Oh,
this is what's gonna happen. Someone's gonna stomp. He stomps him with a centaur. It's really good. No, Kappa, wait. Oh shit, we're getting dope. All right, they go-bold. I'm not really sure what's happening, but it looks pretty good for us.
Where am I?
I'm baiting everything. This is, oh, I know what this is. I bait everything, and then I buy back, and I'm gonna save Boxy with my disruption.
I feel like I'm dealing all damage here.
Look, I'm gonna save Boxy. They're gonna die for him, and then he's gonna get a split off, and then we're gonna win the game.
Look at the arrow on the Aegis. Look at the arrow on the Aegis. Arrow on the Aegis. Arrow on the Aegis. Oh, I missed.
You missed, dude. You flame Fata, and then you do that.
Oh, that was, I probably had no coffee
Fata
that
would have
day.
landed that arrow, dude. Anyway, basically the point of this fight was I did everything. I baited them all, I bought back, I saved Boxy, and we won the game.
Double
and
kill.
Max missed all of his spells.
Me and Boxy just carried that fight, I guess.
Oh, dude. I did all the damage.
Triple kill, boys.
You just took the kill steals, the huge.
Nice game.
Are we doing well? I'm not sure.
How are we doing?
Are we winning Media Day?
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Welcome back, everyone, to ESL One Hamburg. Thanks to Alliance as well for breaking down Alliance on Alliance. So I'm sure we'll see a few more of those over the next 5 days of action. 6 days, of course, in all. Brilliant Dota we've had already today. A little bit more for you as well, just to spoil you even more. Last 2 games of the day will be fought between EVOS and NiP. We've also had a little bit of a change here at the desk as we welcome Trent back to the desk alongside Purge. Trent, how are you doing? Have you recovered from axism?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't quite get it done.
Yeah.
Game.
Didn't quite get it done, did it? No. Not quite
Hard
as
life.
broken as you thought, or still
No,
broken?
no, he's definitely
still broken.
Very good.
Okay.
Hero.
All right. I don't want to tilt you again and get you, going stuff. But let's talk about these 2 teams, EVOS and NiP. Gents, what do you know about EVOS?
Second best Indonesian team. Boom ID, I always feel like has been a pretty strong contender the past while, but these guys
don't need to be mean already.
I'm not being mean. I'm being genuinely serious.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah. I mean.
That's quite a feat to make it here for them. Obviously, they were the better team. They beat Boom ID in the qualifier, but consistently over the past year, Boom ID has looked like one of those teams I always thought was going to break out of C. They're the kind of team I expected to show up here, but it's EVOS instead.
Kevin?
So.
I mean, they seem kind of good sometimes, but not always.
Yep.
It's not.
Sound like a magic 8-ball.
I mean, the first time we heard of a really good Indonesian team, or at least one that qualified, was basically GSC. Like I know you watch a lot of C games, I don't. So that was the one that I could think of. Then when I heard of the second best Indonesian team qualified, I was like, that's a bad sign, really bad sign, you know, because Boom ID got wrecked when they played GSC. Unfortunately, the one in Indonesia. So I don't know. Like they looked okay in the replays that I watched them play. I watched them play 2 games. They played against the other TNC. Tigers is the secondary team. They beat them 2-0 in one of their matches, I believe. And they all played them, so it's like, okay, there's some potential here, so we'll see.
And then got 3-0'd by
which is
the Predator in the grand final, and it was a very
yeah, they're here. Was that a 3-0?
It was a 3-0, and it was very one-sided.
That was a 3-0 into a forfeit.
Exactly.
It's been scrubbed from the record. Didn't actually happen at all. That didn't happen. Okay, do you know what? I don't feel like I've had enough info from you, so I'm going to get some information from a pro player. Who better to ask about teams that we don't know much about than PPD? Can we see that? It's coming, apparently. Well, it's kind of small down there, but anyway, he says, I don't know a single player on your team, and that was the note that he left.
Do you think he was hoping for a note back? Like maybe they'll
I don't
tell
know
him some stuff.
But EVOS played along with that. I want to congratulate them actually, seriously, because I think you guys are a lot of fun. Thank you very much for playing along. I know that you put it out on social media, had a bit of laugh about it and a bit of fun about it, so it's fantastic. And I guess I think these tournaments for me, Kevin, are a perfect platform for teams like EVOS who who aren't well known globally to come to these events and put a stamp on it in some way. Now, they've already taken a game off Complexity. Let's not rule them out. Like, as you rightly pointed out, 2 games off Tigers in a 2-0. That Tigers team is actually a decent lineup.
Yeah, and even if they completely wash out of the tournament, they can at least sell that piece of paper in Indonesia for sure.
Oh yeah,
guaranteed. That's got to be worth at least $100. Someone's gonna want that, you know.
I want that paper.
Stick it on eBay straight away. Their opponent's NiP. I mean, you know, this is the amalgamation of 2 teams who finished in the top 8 at TI8. It's two guys from Secrets, 2 guys from Optic, with Saxo obviously thrown in there as well. Decent player. Played with Blinkpool, I think, last year. With Misery's old
at the
team.
End. Yeah, he
yeah.
was there.
So, you know, it's 5 known quantities of players coming from effectively 2 factions merged into one. That's got great potential, isn't it?
Sure. I was kind of placing them alongside Aster. I was curious to see how NiP were going to stack up. They got worked. They gave D-Stones his hero. He played Invoker game 1. And he did his normal
4,946. No, I'm making it up. But he's played a lot of Invoker.
I would have believed you. That's pretty much...
Exactly, because
like,
he has played an awful lot of Invokers. So why would you do that?
I don't clearly they thought like they
test.
You know, maybe fight the enemy that you know.
I mean, Peter's known for that, right? He likes giving teams what they like to see whether he's got the strategies to beat them. And then the second game, they were like, okay, all right.
And they still got beat.
You don't have it. So, yeah. Tough start for them. They'll be looking, I would presume, on paper, they'll look at this and go, we have to 2-0 this one.
Yeah, they're going to look at this and be like, we don't know any of their players. That means we should be able to win. They lost their qualifier, but still made it here. There's a lot of things going, but there's got to be pressure as well. And that's one of the big negatives of being such a star-studded roster, because all of these guys are extremely talented at their position. So, I mean, there's going to be some stress on the line, especially after going 0-2 against Aster. They've got to get some points on the board, or they have a better chance of getting eliminated. Yeah,
it was a 40-minute game, that second game as well. It's a long game against a team that, you know, on paper you'd look at, as you rightly pointed out at the start of the tournament, looked pretty even on paper, and you think that might end 1-1, and that would probably be a reasonable result. They've lost that 2-0, and that puts them under a lot of pressure to get out of this group in the top 2.
Yeah, and I think you pointed out earlier to Aster have been playing a lot, which is something that hasn't really been true for NiP. They haven't been involved in nearly as many like online leagues or anything like that, or just like grinding out matches and stuff, and that clearly helps someone like Aster, even if they have to do like the big old travel and whatnot for the tournament.
Yep. EVOS, by contrast, 46-19. I know it's only local. I know it's within the region, but 46-19 on this current patch. That's a decent amount of games. They've got plenty of experience. Presumably the draft should be quite solid.
Got to play a lot of those open qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a lot of broad team skill, but it's pretty respectable. And the fact that they took it to Tigers, I think, is impressive. And yeah, we could get some points here. It's possible. I got to see some fresh games.
Okay, and if there's a downside, it might be that their favoured heroes are somewhat out of the meta right now. I'll go through some of them. Jakiro, for instance, just no one else playing Jakiro at all right now. Medusa, some teams, I guess. Brewmaster, again, not many teams playing it. We've seen it earlier today. But then they do play a lot of Necro, Rubik, Ogre, so there's some in there.
Those are all viable,
by
all means. Yeah. It's just like region preference that's going to change how they pick a little bit. And I think what we usually say when we talk about a new team that isn't as proven is pick the comfort picks, because trying to adapt your playstyle is sometimes hard if your experience is not as wide, and do what you're comfortable with. That way, if you have nervous issues, it kind of covers all the bases. Pick the heroes you're good at, and then hopefully you can make that work. Otherwise, if that doesn't work, then you get in this position where you're like, well, we can't pick our comfort, now we got to pick meta, and then they just start getting fully crushed. They lose confidence, and the game's over. So if they got to get some wins, I think, and hopefully that earlier win that they had today is going to give them some of that confidence and help keep their confidence going, so they can do better throughout the group stage and not get eliminated right away. Yeah,
they have taken a game already off Complexity, so that's a good start. Is it a similar path to Infamous and Pain over the last 12 months, where we saw them, as Kevin rightly pointed out, they started playing comfort heroes to start with, then they kind of lost their way a little bit and went, okay, well, we'll play the meta then, and they couldn't play the meta, and so then they went back to this kind of hybrid, and that didn't work. Now they're much more organized. They've had more, I guess, more training, more help, and more opportunities. This is quite early on, isn't it, for EVOS?
Yeah, they're at the very bottom end of terms like that, like opportunity scale. Like, this is not a team that can easily get into majors or minors because the region's pretty stacked. So you have to, there's only so many slots, especially in the first qualifier. And I believe for the next minor announced 2, it looks like there's only going to be 1 spot for C as well. And depending on how many major slots there are, that's really tough in that region. Extremely difficult. So this is a great opportunity for them. I think just focusing at the very most basic stuff in Dota is what you have to do in this sort of situation. Just like win your lanes. Like that's, or at least like have a good game plan for your lanes and like really be thinking about those matchups, because a lot of times these teams get here and they have these like great plans that they think are going to work, I feel like, and then the laning stage, the most basic thing, falls apart and the game just it gets real ugly real fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to when Payne started playing at the very beginning of the DPC season last year. One of the things we always seem to say almost every event was they look great for the first 20 minutes. And then they just kind of lost their way. It was almost like the laning stage makes total sense to them. They get it, they know where they're supposed to be, they know what they're supposed to be doing, they know the timings, they know what's good and what's bad. And then after that, they kind of go, oh, okay, we're in uncharted territory a little bit now. This game could go all over the place. So a good team like Virtus Pro would just crush them.
It could very easily be like they're not good at predicting where their opponents are moving and when they make moves. That way they get caught off guard more often than they catch their opponents off guard. And in those kinds of late game movement things, there's almost no way to come back if your opponents do late game moves better than you. It's going to lead to Roshans. It's going to lead to small advantages that take towers and then eventually a high ground. So you cannot give up those little advantages and you can't be outmaneuvered that much. So yeah, everybody can win the laning stage if they have the right mechanics. You usually know pretty much where everybody is and there's some slight variations. But from there, the game gets complicated, and that's really what sets the high level teams that are skilled from the really organized, good teamwork teams.
And unfortunately, that's something that you only get when you start playing against those similar teams.
It's the golden experience is key, isn't it?
And
I hate saying it almost to some, because they you talk to them after and they're like really disappointed, they didn't do very well, and show what they can do. And you kind of go, don't worry about it, it's a really great experience. And you almost feel patronizing, because like how many times have we said that to teams when they've come to their first big international event?
I just think it's the wrong word.
It is experience, like, but it is valuable.
It's just wrong. Experience is like I lived through something and I learned from it, kind of.
Jeez, that's morbid.
I learned from the emotions. What you should say is like, this is an opportunity to watch replays detailed and try to figure out why they outmaneuvered you constantly. Like them experiencing losing, like yes, that's going to help them get through adversity in future tournaments, but it's more like learn why you're bad. That's basically that's really what the reality is. But you're like trying to pat them on the back, like, oh, it's gonna be okay, buddy. No, they got crushed, and now they have to go do some hard work to catch up.
Okay, all right. I obviously need to man up when I'm talking to these players, instead of being nice and trying to help them. I just need to be more like Purge and mean.
Depends if you want to keep your personal relationships. Well, give them what's important.
Let's talk star players on the side of NiP, because they've got Peter, obviously PPD. We know he's a renowned captain. He's a great drafter. He's a good man manager. He's put some amazing teams together over the years. Not in question as far as that's concerned. But if the ones that are standing out last season had to be 33 in that Optic team, he was just fantastic at almost every single event, and he seemed to get better at every event. He was like, I'm ready, I'm here at TI, and I'm ready now, I'm in the form of my life. But it didn't quite drag everyone along with him, did he?
He had phases. At first it was like, he's also the kind of person that, kind of like how we talked about Alliance, where everyone keeps moving the goalposts. It was the same thing for 3-3, where it was like, well, this guy's not really good. He just plays Visage and, Bat Rider really well or something, and then he picks up a few more heroes, and everyone's like, okay, now you can play 4 heroes very well. But then he just kept on proving and evolving, and really did become a big star on that roster for more than just cheesy draft picks.
And then we've got Ace in that team.
Speaking of cheesy draft picks.
There are a lot. He can pretty much play anything, and he's renowned for playing some of the more cheesier heroes in the ball. Absolutely.
Lots of finger clicking action.
Yep, can do all of that stuff. So in many ways, obviously that looks like an upgrade over PyCap. No disrespect to PyK, he's a fantastic player. By the way, where the hell is he and why hasn't he found a team? But then that's another subject to talk about later. But it does seem like an overall team upgrade. I mean, Peter's looked at that and thought, okay, there's an opportunity to grab this guy. And then alongside that, they get Fada, who moves back to the mid lane as well, which is arguably his better position.
I would say the two that really scream out to me is 3-3 and Fada. Out of all of them, I think Ace is fantastic, but I think 3-3 and Fada have been like the players on each of their respective teams that stood out as like amazing. So the fact that both of those get thrown on the team, Soxa at his time, at his peak around TI6 was also one of the best 4 positions in the world, or one of the best supports in the world. And PPD, maybe not always the best mechanically looking hero, but has had such a consistent history
of placing well. Is tough,
that there's nothing negative. Well, you can criticize PPD about some things, maybe letters and being too blunt like myself, but fantastic player and has such a history of success that you also can't criticize him being on the team. It's really a great roster.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, we've seen rosters with potential. I'm gonna bring out Fnatic, for instance, last season.
I thought you were gonna make a VG potential joke for a second there. No, then what was happening?
We could
not
go
quite
down that road.
No, that's okay.
Is it a little
I'm
bit
good.
too obvious?
Wait till we get to those games. All right.
I think that you definitely have become a dad.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that was definitely a dad joke in the making. Yeah, I mean, lots of teams have had potential, Kevin.
Of course.
Lots have failed.
And
what makes this different?
Did you win or not? That's it. I mean, that's really all it takes. Did your team make it? No. All right. Well, cut the weak ones. Add some more boss tier players.
I think Kevin would make a great coach and a great manager of these teams. He wouldn't take any shit. Would he be like, guys, you were shit. I'm cutting 3 of you.
He needs like a hood.
They're like,
just
wait,
like
what? We only
whispering.
played 1 game, Kevin. Like, we can't leave mid-tournament. He's like, no, I'm cutting 3 of you. It should be brutal.
It's good. Someone
has
has
to
to
be
be that
You
way.
should obviously be a team manager, Kevin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been there.
He's hoping the angrier he gets, the faster the game will start, I think.
You guys are misrepresenting my brutal admissions of facts. You think I'm just gonna kick people because they had 1 bad game and tell them that they suck?
I'm asking you if you would. I'm saying, would you be that? You know?
There's a lot of circumstances that go into answering that question. Right, either you're not presenting. How am I supposed to answer this accurately? Get out of here. Change the topic. Go ahead.
All right,
Let's move on.
okay. Well, the draft has started,
topic
so
machine.
that's saved us. All right, so we're going to get into the draft right now and see where this heads. Is there anything that EVOS need to be careful of? Obviously, we've talked about the flexibility of NiP in the draft and what Ace can, but do they care about that stuff, or have they got to focus, as Kevin said earlier on just making sure they get the right draft for them?
Focusing on our game is definitely important, but yeah, there's always a balance. It's like every game in Dota. It's, you know, you gotta take out those key heroes that NiP want to run. Just be aware of like certain matchups. Like maybe I don't really want to be a Necrophos-based team versus NiP because of things like that Batrider that I know they're very good at, even if they haven't played it that much lately. So just take all those things into account, but try and play your best Dota. See if it works for them. Yeah, thumbs up, guys.
Yeah.
They will get rid of the brood, so a little bit of the cheese, but instantly into the tiny NiP, no fooling around here, putting that draft pressure right back onto EVOS.
We haven't seen too many tinies make it through today.
No, banned first phase like every game, I think.
But it's amazing core or support.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah. And okay, they go instantly into the Necrophos. So that was kind of what I was wondering, is if they would indeed do it. It seems like they're confident enough in it, and right for the Undying too. Very much a stabilizing hero.
Definitely helps against Tiny. It's kind of hard to kill him, so the burst isn't quite as good. And you could reduce his base damage a little if you spam decay, so that works out too.
Do you really want Phantom Lancer? I think probably one of our most common second phase bans. Obviously fairly good against the Tomb. I don't think you need to commit that early for it though.
It's a good point. It's good against Tomb. Yeah.
It's like kind of okay against Necrophos. It's hard to get him with the Scythe and stuff. The other thing would be the Treant Protector is still in the pool, but he suffers a lot versus the Undying, but it is something that they, of course, have been running quite a bit. But they'll grab the Lina instead, who's also very good against Tombstone, and Necrophos. So this has the flexibility option now here of being positioned 4, or the mid hero 2.
Yeah, I definitely like the Lina better.
And they're 10th pick, so that's actually the perfect scenario. We saw a couple teams do this in King's Cup actually, where they would take the super early Lina, and you never know, because you have the 10th pick, so it's like this could be the mid, and there's not many matchups that like totally destroy Lina, but if you see some sort of matchup that you're like, okay, I don't want to run Lina there, you just grab another mid.
Would you say that that Lina's that viable as a support? Because I think it's you can play it. I just don't think it super excels. There's a lot of times where Lina will just die where another support would have been probably okay.
I've seen
survivability-wise.
I've seen her a lot, and it does look very good, but I think she needs certain conditions. Like, she needs pretty strong initiators, because you're drafting a 4 roll that doesn't initiate well. So you have a Tiny for that, which is at least okay. I think a Team Fight 5 is very good, but unfortunately those are in very short supply. Like, Winter Wyvern is just absolutely the most ideal one. It's pretty hard to argue with that. But beyond that, like, it's pretty hard to run, like, Lina Silencer, for example. I don't know how good I feel about that as a support duo. You do want at least one reliable stun.
Does Ace kind of look like Pycat to you guys now?
With the hair, yeah. I think he's going for something
The
there.
swap
Yeah.
It's like, I want to go Ultra Blonde.
I was thinking he kind of looks like a really old Harry Potter, just with the glasses and the gray hair.
Yeah,
you know?
that didn't help.
Time's been rough
well.
on him.
Yeah, I guess.
Prepping for the potential Lina mid, I guess. I mean, some of you teams seem kind of happy with the Lina versus the TA these days, because it feels like Linas have gotten much better with dealing with it, but don't really want to have to mess with it just in case they
That
decide
feels
to
like
put Lina mid.
it feels like a hero that you don't want to play against for like a tier 2 team, like TA. There's like I feel like there's a
Yes, like a
almost
snowballer.
every good mid player can play TA really well.
Yeah.
And it has matchup advantages, and it can like 1- and 2-shot heroes a lot of the times. It just feels like a hero to remove. Can back and jungle easily.
Is it also a dupe? Does it also send a message that Lina's going mid and then EVOS plan for that and then actually it's a support Lina?
I mean, if it's a support Lina and they have a TA on their team, you don't want to play the game either. Because then you're genuinely getting one shot at various points of the game. That's just not fun. Like, you can't defend yourself easily. So, either way, worth banning.
And the Mirana still in the pool. They will ban the Batrider as expected, so they got away with their Necros in the first phase, which was something that was banned out both games, looks like, versus Cole. So they had the Undying and the Mirana. That was their opener previously, and Mirana's still in. Nothing really screaming that it's an amazing game for it right now. This should probably be some sort of position 5 for them. They ran the CM earlier, but Ogre is still in.
It's interesting that it wants them to pick Pudge when they have an Undying on their team. That sounds a little...
That would be an
It is
anti-synergy
Yeah.
with the Tombstone and the
We
zombies,
would definitely
I
get
think.
a red axe, yeah.
So they go with the Rubik. That's kind of interesting. I thought you
Okay.
maybe want Ogre because he's someone who can not be targeted by the Tiny for like free food.
It is kind of good against both Lina and Tiny. There's a lot of good spells to take.
Null Field's okay too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, even like magic resistance to your allies. When you have an Undying and an Echo, that's actually fantastic this game.
It's a pure green draft as well so far.
Looks like a hero they've been pretty comfortable with too when they're playing through their matches in King's Cup C.
A bounty beast chin.
I assume the bounty must be some sort of an idea versus Necrophos with like the track and just like amping the damage back on him, and maybe the Undying too because he just like is suicidal, so he gives you free gold.
And there it is. There's the chin.
Sap got it.
So I think it's a lane stabilizer, which is good against Rubik, who's kind of weak in lane. Can be good against Undying to shut that down, and then also good potentially to save allies against Reaper Scythe.
There's the Mirana. It's heavily predicted to come out in the second phase.
Now that is interesting. It does not look like. Okay, so we'll just get it. Yeah, I guess with the Chen that makes a lot of sense. NiP maybe just kind of walking into that one.
Hey, look what's on the highest rated
It's-
picks from
it's
SAP.
actually a
There's a
very good-
Meepo.
Very good Meepo game.
It is a Meepo game.
Counters
Isn't
Mirana leaps, guarantees Tombstone kills basically, guarantees Chain Disable on Necrophos. If he uses his second skill, you can just mass poof, deal a lot of damage.
it? Does it come out here in position 4?
They got Ace. Meepo in position 4.
Yeah, be weird, wouldn't it?
Yes,
I don't
it
mean
would, Paul.
position 4. I mean
Oh.
the 4th pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, no. The position 4 Meepo. Now that would be something.
Yeah, I'm like,
Oh, they actually don't have.
That would be the wildest call we've ever made.
They actually don't have last pick. I guess I was mistaken. Messed up
missed my
order earlier.
arrows.
I know. I need my arrows, or I get totally lost.
But boy, do I love this overlay, Trent.
Yes, true. It's looking good. So Chen can play in lane with the Tiny. That could just be their combo right there. Playing like aggressively is a little bit of a duo. I feel like Chen's these days are mostly playing as 5s though. Just kind of like chilling in the safe lane, using one creep to harass, maybe roams a bit for the bounty runes.
Like ganking and lane pressuring the Necros feels so easy too. Like
What? Who's that?
that's not bad either.
It's a strange hero.
Anti-Mage was banned out in the last series that we had here on the mainstream as well.
Matches pretty well against Undying in lane. Like you'll lose your health, but you just drain his mana, which prevents him from decaying you anyways. It works pretty good against Necro at various stages. Like getting Reaper Scythe is almost impossible. Mirana is usually pretty magic heavy too. It's like they're actually pretty all in on magic damage right now. I mean, they'll have Undying ulti at least to amp damage, but AM's actually pretty solo survivable this game.
This looks like a Pugna game or something from EVOS. I feel like I just want to like flip the switch and just go, because as you're saying, I feel like they definitely have damage issues heading late, and there's not a whole lot you could do to solve that unless you like all in on some other similar crazy hard carry.
EVOS have the last pick here though, right?
Yeah. So they'll get to see at least what sort of defense NiP will have, and maybe if it is valuable enough to stick with the Pugna.
So what's the AM counter? Something physical damage. That's kind of single target, I guess.
What's the classic counter?
Zeus.
Zeus. Oh, sweet, sweet magic. AM is just a hero that, like, the whole idea of how he plays is just so gone that a lot of those, like, more typical counters just aren't even really available anymore.
Meepo is technically the best counter,
Yeah.
according to Dota buff. OD, PA, Troll, Legion.
Yeah, Troll was the one I had on my list of heroes that might come up, and
I don't know if I like Troll against Tiny too much.
yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, with the other heroes they've already got.
PA could work. I kind of like it against Lina because it's kind of hard to land the stun. Against Tiny, it doesn't sound that great, but it's also kind of good against it.
I think they...
But are they at a... No, they still have a core slot.
Yeah, I think they might just go like DK or something though for EVOS. I don't know. I feel like they're
Like a
trying
safe
to
spot.
some way to just like push the game forward. I think that I would rather just try and play a faster game versus NiP. I don't think you want to go late versus that stack of players.
So as we were saying earlier on, if you weren't with us just before this draft started, their favoured heroes right now are Jakiro, Necro, Rubik, Ogre, Brew, and Medusa.
It is not a Medusa
Do
game.
not
Not a
go with
Medusa
Medusa. Invoker Anti-Mage. Mike, the greed is
goodness.
real.
Is it?
My goodness.
You
This
could-
is Alina AM Invoker game. This is Alina...
No.
Is it Alina support or off?
It's probably support. I mean, it could be Tiny as well, but it's probably support.
yeah.
They're just gonna go Quasflex Invoker. They're gonna get a Spirit Vessel. They're gonna put it on the Necro, and they're gonna freaking kill Necro. Is every chance they can put it on Dyne, put it on any hero that's about to get healed. It is like a prime Spirit Vessel EMP game. I think this is pretty straightforward for NiP what they want to do. They're just going to do 4-man stuff around the map while AM AFK farms. EVOS cannot kill the AM easily with the current heroes that they have unless they do like a lift into arrow. Even like Reaper Scythe, how's that going to work? Like they just actually don't have AM solutions with their draft. Their draft look cool, but like they just like found the carry that counters that. And now they found a mid that's also good against it. Maybe they'll have a good solution here.
And they go for the Beastmaster, which the SAP bot was telling us 3 rounds ago.
Okay. Well, Beast kind of sucks at level 1 right now. His axes got nerfed in a big way, but he can work later on. He's got a way to hunt AM at least and lock down. And if he goes like Medallion, maybe it can be enough damage for his team. But
really good Anti-Mage Ags game. Just saying. That there's like Scythe and there's the Roar. There's like Telekinesis. Everything is just this single target. Like, oh man, whew. I'd be gunning for that thing in this game.
There's the overview. The connections in green signifying good synergy. Not a huge amount on both sides, has to be said, and also the red threat assessment is also pretty
Threat
between
assessment.
However,
I feel like it's like the
Go to
robots of
DEFCON
the
4.
future.
looks like DEFCON 4 for EVOS in this game. Now that's an incredibly greedy set of picks from NiP, isn't it?
I wouldn't say
in some
incredibly.
ways.
No, not that way.
It's a little greedy.
The AM is a little greedy. What
I
else is
think
greedy?
Quasflex Invoker's like, it's not as active as other mids. I think he's on like the higher echelon. He's like
But
almost
it's the
in
active
green
version
levels.
of Invoker
Yes,
outside
for
of
sure.
Sunstrike. That's why it's going to be okay. I mean, I don't know what his mid matchup is because they picked, maybe it's like a Mirana or something mid, but I just feel like NiP's a better team. I think they don't, I don't think Evo has a good AM solution, so I feel like they're going to be able to play the game they want. They're going to play better. They're going to create space for AM, and AM's going to get out of control. I think it's going to be like a 25, 30-minute game.
Okay, Trent,
Maybe
quickly.
35.
I could see them doing it. I'll take EVOS. Why not?
Okay.
I could see this working.
take your win.
They got the speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trust
no,
the beast,
okay.
guys.
I mean, this is the guy that picked the Night Stalker as being the most popular pick here at the ESL One Hamburg. Who knows? Let's head to our commentary team and find out whether Kyle is impressed with his NiP draft, as he after gave me a thumbs up in the background as well. He's alongside OD Pixel. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Paul. Yes, indeed, getting ready for this one, EVOS versus NiP. And yeah, Kyle, what do you reckon then? We've got this anti-mage coming in, not a popular pick, but are you a fan of this?
I think it's just cool because it's a big throwback, all the way to TI1, TI2 era, where Chen Anti-Mage was an incredibly popular combo. I think that they still complement each other very well. Chen's going to secure the laning phase, give AM space, and you kind of make up for Chen's lack of map control as you get the mid game.
Okay.
Plus, the Quasflex Invoker goes all the way back to like when Black was playing with Vici Gaming around like, what was that, like the TI4 era when they were dominant. Like it's super powerful, especially as a counter to Undying, because you drop the tomb, Tornado EMP, all of a sudden team fights changed, you have incredible peel, and if they don't have any method of killing the Invoker, you just kind of run away from the tombstone.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, sort of the setup, those big game fights, a good EMP into a mana void, that can be a crazy amount of damage if they find the opportunity to really lay that down onto someone. But definitely, it's going to be a very interesting match to see, because what do we know? EVOS, they have managed to take a game so far against Complexity. They're coming into this one, obviously considering records and the lineups. This is going to be the much bigger challenge for EVOS here at this LAN in terms of the first series they played today. And NiP, I mean, do you think, would NiP have drafted this anti-mage if they were against, say, another team? Say if they were against like a VP or a Secret or an EG, or do you think this is pretty much a, you know, a we're better than you pick?
I think you're right on that. Yeah. I feel like it's similar to Alchemist, which is the ultimate we're better than you hero. You get punished a lot harder by teams more talented, whereas when you're already favored and you have more experience, AM puts the emphasis on the other team to beat you.
Yeah.
And especially when you're comboing it with Chen, like I want to just enunciate more on this, because you can't really beat a Chen in the laning phase. It's going to be very difficult for them to pressure the AM properly, and as Trent and Purge were saying, you're just going to kill the Necrophos. Like, there's nothing you can really do to keep this hero alive, and we saw this earlier today where he was in like a 3-on-1 situation. Necro just stays alive and is actually able to pressure those 3 heroes out of the lane. If you can't play like a bully, it's just not, it's the same way you stand up to bullies in middle school, right? Okay. You can't be afraid. No. You've got to fight back. And if you're able to do that, all of a sudden the bully's no longer a problem.
Well, let's see, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, getting into game 1 of this 2-game series, EVOS versus NiP. And let's see if EVOS have it in them to deal with the anti-mage draft that NiP have decided to go with. It's bottom lane already, Avil on the Beastmaster, taking a bit of a punch here, losing a lot of his mana, losing a lot of his life. Should be fine to get back underneath the tier 1 tab, but NiP already with the 3 heroes down here, looking to bully EVOS away from these bounty runes. Top lane, bit of a setup here. Saxa with the Light Strike Array onto Logic. Quick Death Pulse comes back out in return, and now Whitemon and Logic giving 33 a bit of a rundown. Another Light Strike comes down to hold back the Necrophos, but Whitemon going in, getting the Decay build. In fact, down bottom, Valechu was able to pick up first blood, taking down Ace. Saxa's got another Light Strike holding them back, but EVOS, they're going to be the ones bullying NiP away from these bounty runes. And in fact, they look like they may even be in position to grab all 4 here. As they don't get anything, they get a second kill. As EVOS, they start the game with 2 kills and all 4 bounty runes.
Well played. That's what you got to do against a Chen AM, right? If you pressure them away from the bounties, like, you shouldn't be able to fight that. I think if you're NiP there, you make a big mistake trying to contest both sides, because you lose those 2v2s.
I mean, it really did see this sort of play, this sort of drop. Maybe NiP have come in a little too cocky. We'll see. They've got to be careful as they start the game 1k behind, down to those 2 kills and 4 bounty runes. I don't think I've ever seen a team start a game with 2 kills and all 4 bounties. That does not happen every day.
Definitely not. Maybe in a few of your pubs, but professional play, it's quite rare.
Yes. Well, let's see. So these lanes, what do we got? Which lane do you think is going to be the most one-sided lane for either team? Is there sort of a matchup we're seeing on these side lanes or in the middle that you feel like someone's going to really struggle?
I think top lane's going to be very difficult for the Tiny Lina combination. You don't really have the ability. These heroes, they have static damage output. You have your spell combos and that's it. And you're playing against 2 heroes with an 8 self-sustain that have far more harass potential as well. I think you get out-regened up here. They're just going to be saved by the fact that Tiny, he can pick up a tree. You know, it's just, most people have to last hit with their bare hands, but he's always going to be able to get at least 50% of a lane for the most part.
Let's see, Whitemon with the wraparound. I mean, Saxa already.
Look at the damage.
Absolutely. Just a bit of a chase down. Saxa has got another Light Strike, so should be fine, but getting absolutely beat down by Whitemon there as he's forced back out away from that top lane. Definitely looking to have that strength that you said you'd imagine to see. They do turn, get the Light Strike onto Whitemon. Heal's going to be there from Illogic. Whitemon actually getting blocked up by the creeps, but the Fairy Fire comes in, turns around, gets the Decay, still alive for now. 33 trying to find that final touch, but a good juke round the trees keeps Whitemon safe. As he's under the tower, 33 does try and have a bit of a look, but he tanks 2 tower hits for that one. He can turn around and punch this. Soul Rip claps there with a mango. Whitemon gets the kill onto 33. A 3rd kill for EVOS. As mid lane, Vada dove a little bit here by Face. Second will turn with the cold snap. There's a wraparound. Look at this movement from the Rubik. You can't expect this as Fada. As there we go. Vlechu's there with the control. Fada's gone. And EVOS, a 4th kill in this laning stage, just 2 minutes in.
He walked through the ward as well. Not sure that Fada should have been caught sleeping there, but that's the benefit of playing so aggressively in the mid lane. Fada has no time to look to his right because there's a Mirana on his hill pressuring him under tower. All of a sudden, Rubik shows up and Peter's a little preoccupied microing. However, the AM does have a free lane. This is the benefit of the Chen safe lane strategy. In the past, you typically go like aggro tri-lane with the Chen aggressive, whereas nowadays you get your Q level 1, then you take this hard camp creep, and all of a sudden it's effectively 3 heroes in this bottom lane against a Rubik Beastmaster, and this is... This is a great move by Rubik, though, pulling the creep wave. You can't contest this lane anymore.
NiP are able to get themselves on the board and kills as top lane. The two of them are able to punish Whitemon. Did see he was hanging around very low on HP and mana, so maybe Whitemon getting a little carried away with the start that he was able to get and not backing up to heal. Cost him his life. Come back into the lane now, because like Facer goes well in the middle. I mean, he's hanging around. He's got to be careful. Will back up. I believe he's got some regen coming out on that mid courier.
Does the Wraith Band swap too? Love to see that. Gets him a little bit extra HP.
33. And on to Logic. Whitemon keeping Saxa away from this attempt from 33. As indeed the CS for this anti-mage is the big worry at the moment for EVOS, as you say. This is a free farm anti-mage. Mid lane, Fada playing around with Facehugger, went very deep for the attempt on the kill and he gets punished. Good outplay from Fada there with the tornado usage. Punishes Facehugger.
Is that really an outplay? That seemed like, feels like Facehugger just played himself.
That's top. Whitemon gets himself a bit of revenge. Takes Saxa down. So a real brawl on this top lane between these dual lanes. EVOS and NiP absolutely going at it. Fada's able to secure himself the haste rune top.
Yeah, it's a big problem. There's this anti-mage. As soon as he has Treads Aquila down here, he can be effectively left alone, and you don't have a real method of killing him without investing 2 cores. You need the Roar into a Scythe or a Mirana arrow, and it's very difficult to take down a hero like AM if that's your only answer.
And they're getting kills, more kills on the top lane as they take down Illogic. Getting aggressive. Mid lane, Vleichu with this smoke, coming with the wraparound onto Fada. This could be a good setup as Fada does not look ready to expect this one. There's a few right clicks, telekinesis, and the finish off from Facehugger secures the kill onto Fada once again, with Vleichu doing his best to make these movements mid and keep his Mirana on top.
In the meantime, Avil on the Beastmaster down bottom spots out PPD's rotation. Even though it's nighttime, you got a glimpse of him, and he knows he awarded that high ground, so expect that to be sentried soon. Bounty rune spawning in 2 seconds.
Oh, and look at this, Vleichu. He goes from that mid-rotation straight up towards the top to help sort of brawl with 33 and Saxa back up Whitemon. Bounty runes. We're going to see 2 go the way of NiP, 1 go the way of Vleichu. Maybe Vleichu can look to set up for a kill as they're chasing down Saxa. Saxa trying to hide in the tree lines, but they're on top of them. They've got the telekinesis drag back, and Saxa will get punched down. Mid lane cold snaps on Facehugger. He's in a lot of trouble. He's got to be careful. Does have a leap and a salve available, and will back up and salve. Bottom lane, Avil, he's going to be open to abuse from Ace and PPD as they'll start to dive him. He'll try and bottle himself back to safety, but there's no escape for the Beastmaster. As a kill secured for Ace, more money into the bank account of this free farm anti-mage.
So I'm very surprised they last picked Beastmaster. If you get the opportunity to 10th pick something against an anti-mage, it needs to be an answer. Some sort of counter that throughout the entire game is going to be able to deal with him. I feel like Legion Commander was the only answer really left to them, or at least something like an Axe, though I think that was banned. Beastmaster has no game down bottom, and he has no method of getting back into this game either. Like, it's a tempo hero, much like the entire EVOS draft is predicated on being ahead in the mid game, and at this rate, that's not going to happen.
So, opening here with the Avalanche. Light Strike, he's got the Ghost Shroud, comes in before the tree toss, and Whitemon's there with the wraparound. Also, Vleichu seeing if he can get a look in, see if Saxa oversteps the markers, who waits. Waits for the Lina to go forward a bit now. They chop the Tombstone, get the control with the telekinesis, and Saxa's taken down. As Vleichu really making the movements all across this map. This is some fantastic Rubik opening in the first 6 minutes.
He hasn't made a misstep just yet, and this is a game where they really have no moves. Like, I'm not going to say EVOS is out of this game, but like, this is a very difficult early game for a Rubik to play, and he has given himself an incredible foothold.
Look at it going again. Saxa, TP's back, but look, Vleichu and Whitemon, they're still there ready and waiting. He does get the 2-man Light Strike, but can they get the grab? Telekinesis indeed. Vleichu's got the control, blocking Saxa off here with the body blocks, allowing the Death Pod to go through. He's trying to get himself back towards the shrine, but the soul rips there from Whitemon, taking Saxa straight out of the lane as quickly as he came to it. We are going to see more rotations now, as I believe PPD is heading over to do something about this problem. And PPD, he's got himself the Siege Creep and the Satire Tormentor, throws the nuke down onto Whitemon. Whitemon, he's got a fair bit of strength stolen, so he'll be okay. He's able to walk away. PPD's able to push them off, but isn't able to find anything in return.
This great ward, though. This is the best ward to play around as Dire in the safe lane. You have Mirana collapsing as well. Facehugger's here to set up. Lift is prepared.
Let's see what they can do. There are 3 members still here of NiP.
They're going to know there's a ward here if they keep playing like this, though.
There's the troll. Set up onto Whitemon. Facehugger, frozen arrow. Only catches onto the Tiny, and Fada's going to be there as well. Good leap to dodge the tornado. Vleichu still gets caught. Whitemon trying his best to retreat, but the toss forward's there. Fada in position to pop down the MP onto Vleichu. They'll get the Rubik. The rest of them backing off. As there was a 4-man movement there from NiP to get them out of that area of the map. Does get them a kill.
It's worth, even if they don't get that kill, you're fine forcing a 4v4 because you know that down bottom you have an AM versus a Beastmaster. That's an 80-20 matchup, and your Anti-Mage is 100% the win condition in this game. You just need to buy time. If it's even in 20 minutes, you're going to take the game. So just keep forcing this, waste EVOS time, and ensure you don't lose towers.
And you can certainly indeed see that paying off in the numbers. 46 and 19 on the CS at the moment for Ace. And a lot of tasty solo XP to benefit him. And Flychu's trying to do his best to pick up a little bit of action from this lane, but it's going to get very hard to kill this anti-mage without a rotation from the Necrophos or the Mirana.
Yeah, and it's just so hard to play against this hero when you have nothing that can actually lane against him. As soon as he hits a Tread's Battle Fury timing, he can blink on any solo
just take
core
all your
by
mana
himself.
away.
Yep.
And you're done. You're done in the lane. I've got 3 members down in now. Aviel does have the Primal Roar ready, so a Roar into an arrow would do it, but look, he's playing safe. Ace knows.
I mean, it's pretty, I don't want to say it's like a basic rotation, but I mean, it is. Even with the Aquila, he knows that the moment you make this move, this is the Radiant advantage where you just don't have to give a damn about your bottom safe lane tower.
Quick combo for the 33, nearly finishes off Whitemon. He does get the heal off. Now, Aviel will TP top. They've got the Tombstone down, they're chasing down 33 behind the trees. 33 in trouble. Reaper's Scythe comes down, takes him out of the game for 30 seconds. They do lose the Dire Courier there to the neutrals. Look like the Undying. Whitemon was not looking where his courier was going as it got sent out to him and got taken down by some neutrals.
I like that move, though. You know the AM is TP'd up there. Made sure that... Oh, whoa. They might get him.
Oh,
Caught an
they
arrow.
have they got the damage? Waste. He's able to just blink off in time. Axes will be thrown out, but won't quite clip onto him. But yeah, he's nearly thrown away his life there.
And something that we've seen now, it used to be just the elite teams, but now even these more tier 2 squads learn how to rotate properly around the map where, yeah, they commit 4 heroes to top, but they leave the Rubik bottom. He gets a level, a lot of gold. You need to ensure that if you're going to abandon a lane that's pushed that hard, just let someone soak up those free creep waves because they represent a hero kill this early in the game.
Up around here, Aviel goes for the Roar, onto PPD, Ace, focusing on Logic. They've got the Light Striker right down as well. He does get the Ghost Shroud out, it's not going to save him from the Mana Void. They'll lose PPD, but Ace gets a kill onto a core. So, good trade for NiP, managing to get their anti-mage involved early in the fights. Arrow connects, but of course nothing they can do about that one as Aviel and Vlachu hang around the middle lane. Aviel trying to build towards those early Necro books. But Ace's farm still continuing to get pretty out of control.
That was a good sequence, though, for EVOS. I mean, better than they can expect because they have slowed down Anti-Mage considerably. He could easily be 5k net worth if they hadn't forced him to rotate and move out of lane a couple of times. Their issue is just going to be how do they actually kill towers? Because if you don't take tier 1s, inevitably AM gets Battle Fury and starts to eat the entire jungle.
One lane Fada trying to go onto Logic here, but Logic's got backup from Vlachu. Deafening Blast comes out, doesn't have the Reaper's Scythe available, so didn't have that extra bit of lockdown and damage required to kill off the Invoker, so Fada's able to walk it off. Would have been a big catch for the two of them, yeah, 5 seconds until that Reaper's Scythe's back online. Fada's still playing around with them. Does have to be a little careful now that the ult's up on Necrophos.
I really like Ace just decided to go for treads instead of rushing the Battle Fury straight away. I like that decision. Would have preferred he do that earlier, but I like that he recognized, like, hey, I just need to stay on map and continue to apply some sort of pressure. I can't be forced. Like, it just feels bad playing Brown Boots AM unless you have a free game. And I think that this is what's going to allow him to just lane up off lane against Mirana indefinitely.
Dropping the Tombstone here, but it is going to quickly be farmed here by PPD and Saxer as they'll get 150 extra gold here for PPD's Chen. One of the creeps in return. 11 for 6, less than a 1k lead. Very close game at the moment. In a game that's close at 11 minutes, is that good or bad for the team with the anti-mage?
Definitely good in this game. And I like the way that they're moving around the map as well, where AM's top and Invoker's bottom. These two heroes are incredibly difficult to take down. They can hold these towers. And then the supports now have the freedom to move and kind of shift where NiP is going to apply the tempo. And in the meantime, Tiny Lina, like, you can't pressure mid lane with this Beastmaster. So effectively, they forced stalemates in all 3 lanes. And that's just buying time.
Whitemon with the haste. They have sort of sat the couple of them down here. They really want to try and make a move onto Fada. See how safe Fada plays. Got vision on him. They drop the meteor. If Whitemon and Vlachu can get the wraparound, they'll have a good shot at getting this kill. Extra TPs are coming in though. It's getting harder by the minute. And Saxer is there. PPD is also there with the wraparound. EVOS may have waited a little too long to make the play. A 4th TP coming in from NiP. As they'll focus down Vlachu. Moonlight Shadow will not save him as they've got the nuke damage to dispose of him. 33's also got the avalanche. Doesn't have the vision though. Whitemon and Illogic will be kept safe under the cover of the Moonlight Shadow.
Yep, the issue is, again, Ace just chilling up top. He's fine laning against Mirana. He has no threat whatsoever. And even if he's trading evenly, there's no qualms for this. And they do a good job on NiP. They rotate, protect the tower, get a kill. Beastmaster feels very ineffective at the moment. He needs a great rune and a lord somewhere.
All the means to deal with the Ghost Shroud. Doesn't matter if he pops it early or late. There's going to be this huge amount of magical burst or physical. Either way, it's a hard game at the moment for Illogic to stay alive when there's 3 heroes on top of him.
Just look at the way NiP plays. They have a defensive safe lane ward. Even though there's 3 heroes there, they place another ward and they just back away. They're going to push this lane from afar and chill at their tower. In the meantime, Invoker's mid, AM's top. They have no issue with this whatsoever.
Fada just taking a free tower, as it were. And he does a lot to this tier 1 mid. TP does come in from Illogic on the Necrophos. It's 33. He's going to have eyes onto Facehugger around this room. As Facehugger looking for the 14-minute one, does manage to grab it. 433 is able to get him with a stun. Fills up his bottle, but still, yes, the timer ticking for EVOS as Ace is anti-mage. Leading the net worth, 6k total at the moment, and over 1k ahead of the highest core on EVOS' lineup, that Mirana. With the Demon Edge just about 600 gold away.
Beastmaster's got a Necro book, though. That's something.
No, can certainly start pushing, helps find the pickoffs too, but top Fada, good tornado onto the 2 of them, EMP down as well as they'll try and back up. Whitemon, low on mana, pops the stick charge. He's still got enough to turn and fight. They'll look for the arrow, does get the connection onto Fada. Can they do anything with it? They're trying to bring out Veil in range. They've got the Sora jump forward, the Hand of God comes in, but it's not enough to save Fada as Invoker falls. EVOS trying to see if they can get more out of this engagement as Facehugger moving in, has the Arcane Rune popped as well, so he's going to have those extra sort of downtime on the nukes. And they get the control of Veil, goes for the Brawl on the side. He's found himself Saxa. Saxa with the stick charges turns. Light Strike Array is going to be juked out by Avil. Saxa's still got the movement speed to get himself away by the looks of it. I don't know if Avil is going to be able to find this, as it's going to be EVOS looking at 33 instead. The rest of them surrounding the Tiny, looking for the bigger kill, and they'll get it as they take down the Tiny, PPD, Chen, and the Invoker. 3 kills for EVOS.
Yeah. That was excellent. I mean, that's what they needed to make happen. It's a very low percentage play, but they have to force that fight. Even though they had preemptively dropped the tomb, they know AM has no interest in this engagement, and you need to collect kills. They have to finish this tower as well. But once again, Fada just doing his best to delay the movement of EVOS. Just slow them down. Even if you lose this tower, make them waste another minute or 2. That's very valuable time for your anti-mage, who's still free farming top.
He really is, and he's got that Battle Fury complete. 15 minutes in, and his Battle Fury treads and Aquila, very good timing. Still obviously vulnerable until that point where he really gets the Manta if they can catch him. The ball's going to be stolen. Here's PPD and Fada. Turn their attention towards Avil. Moonlight Shadow's going to be out, but Dust is there. PPD prepared to find the pickoff, despite the invis. Maybe they can set something else up with the invis. Logic looking towards sort of this mid.
I don't know if I like this Force Staff on the Necrophos. I understand its reasoning.
Yeah, what are you getting at this game against?
You want to juke the EMP.
Make sure you don't lose your mana.
The problem is you're still playing against a lot of stuns, right? I would much prefer him to go for more scaling items. It's really not a Radiance game, but at some point maybe you'd like a Hex and you can't go 3rd item Hex when you already pick up a Force Staff. It could be a nice BKB game, but I feel like you need like. It's tough. I actually have no idea what you buy here. Maybe a Yules. If you're going to go for this sort of item, a Yules into a Lift will always land kills on the Anti-Mage, and Yules into Arrow is a very effective combination with Black Lockdown too.
Playchu with the Blink that he stole from the Anti-Mage. He's got the setup straight in with the Roar and the Reaper's Scythe. That's 33 down for 45 seconds. So one of the pluses of playing this Rubik against the AM, you're always going to have that opportunity for an easy Blink steal.
I love how Sox has been playing this, though. He's just consistently shoving waves, being a nuisance, and now here comes Fada to do the same.
Could find a good setup here if EVOS aren't too careful. They can't group up. Fada looking for the angle, gets the 2-man tornado, EMP down, but they'll able to move themselves out of the range of it. So no mana will be lost today. They can continue to push here with the Necro Book and making good use of that indeed. 17 minutes in, EVOS will be able to claim the Tier 2 tower top. away from NiP.
I really like the way they played that as well. You have to zone, because if you allow these heroes like Lina to come up and poke your creep wave, that push is dead. But they position the bird aggressively, they play aggressively Undying, diving tower, and it's just a very well executed move. Beastmaster as well, choosing not to max that inner beast so that he can get an max out call the wild very early on. You need that because they already lack tempo, and you need to win this game in the mid game. Who's going to be auto attacking thanks to that aura, right? You have a Necro and a Mirana. Save that for later. Ensure you get that extra creep. It also allows them to set up for Roche if they can get this mid tower.
EVOS straight up with the smoke again.
Oh no.
Let me just find PPD. PPD out alone. Lean forward from Facehugger. He'll start the attempt, and then Logic and Fletcher will come in for the cleanup. PPD's gone, and they're now in position to push onto this tier 2 bottom. They don't have the Beastmaster with them, so we'll be a little slower than the push up top. But it looks to be a push they'll get away with. As NiP don't seem interested in contesting it. They're more interested in trying to find a kill. As they're setting up, looking for that Beastmaster top. And Fada has got the catch with the Tornado. Aviel keeps the distance though, and that may make it a little too hard for NiP to catch. They won't get the kill, and they'll give up their tier 2 tower bottom. 19 minutes in, and in a game where they've got this anti-mage, they are losing the map control.
And look, I love the wards they placed on that move as well. They now have three actually, if you count that one on the high ground all the way up top. But they have this great vision now. They get the 2 towers bottom. They can leave this lane now indefinitely. They do not give a damn about it. And they can go collect mid tower and then Roche. They need to do this within the next 3 to 4 minutes because you don't want to fight into the AM Manta reveal. That's going to be very scary for you in a game like this. One stun and the AM blink in is immediately going to land a kill on any hero of his choosing.
Got a double damage rune ready on Facehugger. Looks for the arrow. It's going to be blocked by the Ancient. And so he'll at least be able to take that away. Nice bit of gold for him. Away from the anti-mage.
This is great. I wish they were ready to dive on this tower. They have the ward behind. You need to be willing to kill this Lina.
Saxa leads in. It's going to be spotted out by the creeps. So EVOS, again, getting away with these pushes. Fada goes for the angle, gets the Tornado EMP down. Will not hit onto Whitemon. Keeps the distance, drops a Tombstone down as well, just in case there was the potential of Ace jumping in on the anti-mage and looking to commit. But Ace, he's elsewhere, continuing to just focus on farming up that Manta. And you've got a full Blink Dagger now picked up as well on Vlachu. So, as well as the opportunities to steal the anti-mage's spells, he's also got his own maneuverability to rely on.
Yep. It's really well played, and I wish they had just walked into Roche, but they feel not quite confident with Tombstone on cooldown, but it's going to mean that Ace is going to have the Manta in time to possibly be able to contest that. But if you're NiP, you may just kind of let Sleeping Dogs lie and just not contest it whatsoever, but EVOS has got to force it first for us to be able to find out.
The 3 of them on EVOS heading down here. We'll see if Ace gets tempted to jump in and do something. He's thinking about blinking, but there is backup here for a Logic. So Saxa, yeah, they are going to jump in and commit. Quick burst. They do get the kill onto the Necrophos. Whitemon and Flaytube, they don't want to fight back. About their Necrophos, they'll go. NiP just able to burst down a Logic a little too quickly to allow EVOS the chance to actually fight back. Arrow comes in, won't catch onto Ace. Ace still feeling very confident in this position, knowing that
they have Lift in a second and Laguna.
Ooh, that's a nice steal. He may just be able to go for the solo on Saxa if he wishes to do so. Blinks in, can't quite get the vision for the catch, does get caught out by the Light Strike Array, but Facehugger and Whitemon, they're in as well as Aviel. EVOS bringing in the boys down bottom to get the kill onto Saxa. Ace will be able to get out. Same time mid lane, PPD's got the army pushing him, taking a tier 2 away from EVOS, and they will claim it. So claiming good control of the mid lane, NiP pushing very, very strong.
Yep, another just well-played PPD, very experienced captain. NiP, while they don't have what I would say is like your elite tier players that you see on squads like VP, Liquid, OG, etc., they do have that understanding of the game. They're all incredibly experienced players, and they're very willing to trade a support down bottom. Fada and PPD, they're not leaving mid lane. They're going to get those towers.
Look at this. They know where Ace is because of that ward that they laid down here just outside of this entrance to the Ancients. The Hand of God, though, is that going to keep him alive? It is! Oh, no! The Hand of God, just enough. EVOS, even with the stolen Laguna Blade, they couldn't quite burst him. It would have been a huge kill for them to find, but PPD was there with the global save. Now NiP, as well as making that evasive play mid, putting pressure on top, they'll instantly TP back as soon as EVOS start to wrap up towards there. Couldn't quite get that kill.
It's just a game of catch me if you can. It's so annoying. You have Saxa in one lane, Invoker in another, and AM just farming pretty much everything with the threat of the 3-3 Tiny, who's almost always off map as well.
Let's see if Facelugger can find this arrow from the trees. Goes for it. Doesn't get the arrow on target. Sax is able to get away in same time up top. Ace and 33 are in, and on top of it, Logic. There is backup. Aviel doesn't have the primal roar though. So a hard kill to get ready. He'll summon up the army, but Ace is already out of there. 33 blinking deeper. Vlachu trying to hunt him down. They've got the vision with the Hawk. They'll find the Tiny at least, as 33 is left behind. EVOS still keeping themselves ahead in kills, and net worth is very close. Less than a 1k difference between these two teams 23 minutes in. 18 to 11. We'll see this on the replay again, how close EVOS were to getting that kill on the AM. Perfect opening, everything thrown down, but the Hand of God comes through, and he gets out on about 50 HP.
That roar was about 0.75 seconds too early, and I don't know if I'd call that a flawless opening.
Well, they stacked it pretty much straight on top of each other, did they?
I mean...
there was the opportunity to have more to save.
Yes.
Bottom Vlachu. He'll be fine. Does also have Aviel by him. Primal Roar's online. They could go for a kill. They don't want PPD. They want something big.
They overlap again.
Is that going to cost them the kill? No, they'll get it. But you're right. They've got to be careful with this. Yeah, I saw it that time.
It does cost them the tower kill, though. The Alacrity Catapult.
They pop it both at the same time here. And oh! I feel like I don't see that every day. So 33 getting the Vanguard on the Tiny this game.
It's the way to go. You're playing against heroes that are going to have damage issues on the side of EVOS, and you have an Animage who's already going to have that innate tank ability going for the Ags. You know, this whole team understands, look, the enemy squad is going to run out of damage. They can only kill my Animage in a roar or a huge arrow.
Facehugger. It's going to be fine.
Oh, yeah, they blow your cooldowns. No need to hang on to it. Mana Void, 70-second CD.
Can they punish this? He's got the blink stolen if he wants to come, but he's a little scared. They didn't have really any spot. They only had the Undying really by his side, so would not have had enough to get him. They need that roar or that arrow follow-up if they want any sort of chance of buying time to kill the anti-mage.
They need a Roche too, but at this rate, I'm very fearful that the new timing for EVOS to win the game might end up just being post-Animage 6 slot. That's really the two weaknesses of Animage are the early game and the hyper late game. Yes, you know, you think of it as the super hard carry, but realistically, if Beastmaster, Necro, Mirana all get to like that 4th or 5th item, they will be able to outscale the NiP lineup in this game, assuming that the Invoker doesn't get incredibly out of hand as well. But Fada's game so far, not quite what he would hope for, but that's the product of being ganked 3 times middle and Quaswex playing more of a space maker in this game.
And we'll see here, yeah, sort of Fada's movements around the map this game. A couple of deaths in the mid, a couple of deaths down bottom, but certainly has been all over the place here, Fada this game. Been very mobile and something that the panel were looking towards, you know, in terms of how much Fada would be able to offer in the early stages. And he's been around making sure that there was sort of space and action going on, where the anti-mage wasn't opening up that opposite half of the map each and every time for Ace, who has now got that Aghanims complete on top of the Manta Stars, so incredibly tricky to catch. They have to find a way to pop that passive before following up with the Roar.
And they have a pre-sentry laid down up top, and they're just baiting it as 4. Fada's a fast connect.
33's in. Got the opening. Force is going to be there, but it's not going to save him. Too much burst. Allows them to get the kill. Dust is out. They've got the vision on Whitemon and Aviel. Aviel tries to turn to go for the Roar, but the mana's already been burnt. They've got the combo as they've lost 2 on EVOS. 33 forcing Whitemon away as he's still dusted. The Avalanche, Tree Toss, and a couple of punches to the back bring down the Undying. As NiP starting to come out clearly on top of the trades, on top of the team fights, and can now push onto that tier 2 top with no answer from EVOS.
And yeah, you know, they're only 4k ahead, but still, there's so much dead worth on the Dire side. Like, 1,500 gold saved on the Rubik in a blink. That's not really going to impact an engagement. Same with the Beastmaster Shadowblade. These items are only effective if they can utilize the positioning advantage to find pickoffs. You have NiP who's just going to clump up and go fight as 5 with an Anti-Mage, now with an Aegis. They've itemized to win the game on this timing. The Crimson Guard is about to be picked up as well. There it is. And this is NiP just understanding their lineup. You're not playing for an AM6 slot. You're going to get this Aegis, maybe his next item, but realistically, you can starve the map now for a few minutes and potentially threaten tier 3s right after. The Abyssal AM is going to mean he kills anyone on map all by himself.
So there's not really any sort of answer or save for whoever gets jumped on at the moment. As EVOS They are heading out again. Aviel not really going to find anything here and doesn't really want to. As NiP, they are grouped up. It's ready to make a movement with this Aegis and smoke. As EVOS a little too split up here. We'll see who gets caught out by this one. As Aviel, he's going to be spotted out. Shadow bladed. He's got to try his best for the Dukes here in terms of getting away from any sort of potential dust. He's blinking into the trees. Aviel making a good call. They won't quite find him there, so Aviel is able to get himself away. The rest of EVOS also able to keep themselves at a safe distance. So the smoke not able to find a kill.
Still a high-level smoke, though. They had pushed top so far that, yeah, Mirana can go catch it, but they're already in position now where they're ahead by about 20-30 seconds on this wave. So they're going to collect this tier 2 for free, and Mirana's going to be faced with a difficult decision. You have no teleport. Look at how far he is. AM could go tier 3, especially now that the Rubik's been picked off as well. You have 50 seconds of freedom.
Yeah, that sort of setup there from the power of the Lina with that cast range and the ether lens. A light strike from a mile away. Especially during this night time. Very hard to do anything about unless you've got perfect vision up. This is bottom tier 2. Very likely to be taken. Basher on the AM. 20 seconds without the full roster of EVOS. Tier 2 tower taken by NiP. 6k advantage and ready to push for more with this Aegis. Looking to threaten the high ground and the base of EVOS.
I don't know how you stop this. You just can't kill any mage. Again, there's a Crimson Guard. Beastmaster's damage is negligible. It means the zombies do absolutely nothing for the duration, and Ace still has an Aegis.
Somehow killing twice. And it really is so hard to do. You pop the passive.
I like how they're playing it, just slow and steady.
Got to do something here, EVOS. As they're slowly losing the Rax. Arrow comes through. Only going to hit onto an illusion. Combo from Fada with a Tornado EMP down towards Illogic. Forced to the side. Sunstrike's there though, and Illogic, he's gone. Perfect play from Fada to combo down the Necrophos, and Illogic's out without buyback for 50 seconds. He's still seeing the safe opportunity to continue pushing. 33 jumping in into the base behind the Rax. Combos down another. Fada picks up the kill. As it's a double kill for Fada. No buybacks on the two members of EVOS. The full set of Rax taken down on the bottom lane. As NiP, they can look to go for more, or they can look to play it safe. They'll back up, force back out top lane. But this game looking to get into a very tough situation for EVOS. They had a good showing at the start. They certainly came in with the plays, the rotations, they had the ideas. But as we sort of said, the anti-mage was definitely a we're better than you pick, and it certainly looks like PPD was right in that sense.
That's the exact point I was going to make. I mean, I would say that they did about as well as they could hope for in the early game, but it's just an uphill battle. You need to play flawlessly to win when you're this far behind in terms of being able to close out a game. And NiP, like, did it ever really feel like they were pressured? I mean, methodically, just farming lanes. I imagine Peter with like a straw hat and a little bit of hay in his mouth, just feet up on the desk thinking, you know what, guys, just chill. Wait for the harvest, and we're going to collect a victory.
Logic. Ooh. Be careful. Let's see here, quick combo. Onto Vlachu is going to heal by the Soul Rip. They do manage to surround 33. He's a pretty beefy brute, though. Can they actually finish him off? They've got the Reapers. And that will allow them to take him down. Immediate buyback from 33. Does not want to mess around with that long death timer. Fada's also down. They do get themselves a couple of nice picks.
I like it, though. Now you have Tiny with this huge window. He's alive. Reaper Scythe is down. And how do you kill anything anymore?
I mean, Ace. Quick jump in on top of Vlachu. Beal does have that level 3 Necro book, but still the problem really being on how they deal or catch out the Ace anti-mage. It's out of the base they go with the Moonlight, but Ace jumps forward. 33 as well, looks for the Avalanche, getting on top of Illogic. Illogic does get the Ghost Shroud out in time, but still the Light Strike, Dragon Slave, and Laguna bring him down low. Soul Rip and Force Staff keeps Illogic safe. Back towards the base, he'll get out. Facehugger trying to head forward, but the Light Strike comes out from Saxa onto the two of them. Dragon Slave as well. Vlachu turns with the stolen Laguna Blade, not enough to kill us. Saxa, now the blinking from Ace. Instant bash and control onto the Rubik. Rubik's out for 70. As that was a dieback from Vlachu. Aviel trying for the wraparound, maybe see if he can find a cheeky kill on the back. Saxa is pretty low at the moment. But Aviel sending Army in. So Saxa does have the stun, but 33's there with the Avalanche to disable the creeps long enough to keep Saxa safe. Ace does find Aviel. Gets Gets him after the Shadow Blade wears off, and Avil, he cannot run. It's Ace unstoppable on the anti-mage.
Just look at the net worth disparity. It's an exponential growth once you get this far ahead on an anti-mage. He was only about 1,000 ahead when he had 8k net worth, and now he's nearly doubling up the entire any player in the game.
Absolutely huge, Ace.
It's an easy game to play, though, to be fair. He made the right decisions, but when you can carry a game by simply rotating out of a lane as your like big play in the game, it's real nice.
Yeah, I'm sure he's having a lovely time.
So, dude, it's a stat booster. This is the sort of game you love.
Yeah, get your sort of your average GPM up, absolutely.
I mean, when you have an MVP, a Mercedes, you get a Mercedes for being MVP.
That's true.
This is big.
You know, Ace doing his part to get his hands on and take one of those cars away from VP. He's showing us the good stuff. But then again, a lot of this is just his team around him, setting up the map as they have and the space that Ace needs. But Ace, yeah, he's not been messing around. He's been doing everything needed in terms of farming and getting the patterns on point and being exactly where EVOS aren't. I believe we're only being caught out the once this game on the anti-mage. As yeah, 6-1-5 Ace this game. As EVOS, they are back by the base, ready to hold. Ace very close to the 25, so I mean, NiP, if they want, they could chill out and wait for that one.
Oh yeah, no reason not to wait for Roche as well.
Yeah.
It makes the right now you probably got a 98% win probability, but I've seen that sort of game thrown a few times. Get the Roche and it's effectively 100%.
Let's see what they can do, EVOS. They're going to try and fight before that situation arises. Can they get any sort of setup? The scan is going to be there from themselves on top, just in case anyone was invis around them. Making the long smoke wrap around from the bottom half of the map. They may bump into Fada. Fada's got a lot of his team by his side, and NiP, they're going to go for a smoke themselves. They're on the low ground, though. Gets dispelled. EVOS, can they go for the quick blink? They've got the opening. Frontal Roar and Reaper Sight down. That's going to be Invoker gone, but he'll buy back straight away. BKB from Facehugger. He's coming in. He's doing a good amount of damage here. He's taking down Saxa. The Cataclysm comes through. Ace has got the bashes onto Facehugger. Abyssal Blade down as well as he sees him. He's got the vision. Facehugger's gone. Fleichu playing around with 33, but he's so tanky. He has Ace by his side. Fleichu will go quick with the blink and TP out. Whitemon, trying to hide and escape from this as well, but Fada finds him with a tornado. Ace jumps in as they take 3. EVOS, though, they managed to get they got 3 kills in return. Fada had to buy back for that, and EVOS do have buybacks available. So still, despite being 13k behind, they're certainly able to put up a fight, but it's just not good enough to swing the game back around, as they need a lot more to really gain control of this.
That fight was pretty much 3v5,
yeah.
And they still lost pretty considerably. Obviously, Fada does buy back with the Cataclysm, but Ace is unstoppable at this point in the game. He does have the level 25.
Yeah, so
Butterfly.
And the evasion on that Butterfly, absolutely. And again, it's this timing you talked about. They're brought back because they're pushing in. There's no threat of a Reaper's Scythe. Sort of the one guarantee that they've really had to rely on EVOS to kill off the cores each fight. Without that, very unlikely they'll find these kills.
This must be this TP is done for.
Be fine here. In fact, you can turn. I think Sax at the same time doesn't really mind this because, again, now there's no Reaper's Sight, now there's no Roar for this defense. And already the melee racks have been taken. They move in, they get the kills. The buyback's coming out from the two of them. Toss back onto Fleichu. Does have the stolen avalanche out onto Fada. But 33 moves forward. Sora to heal up Fleichu as well as the telekinesis onto 33. But it's so hard for them to kill these heroes without those 2 ultimates. Ace will blink away, but they've already got what they came for. They got that mid-melee racks. 33 being slowed down. Arrow comes through, but it won't connect. 33 getting focused. The damage from Facehugger is enough to take him out of the game. He's gone for 100 seconds. Does not have buyback for that time as well. As with the Moonlight Shadow, EVOS, they're trying to find more. Let's see if they can find it. The Invis sentry's already down, though. NiP, I know what's up. In fact, Ace jumps in, looks to get the control onto Avil. The Cataclysm also onto Fleichu, causing issues. The Undying's gone. Ace will finish off the Rubik, as now they're in a situation. 2 dead, no buybacks. They have got Reaper's Sight back online. They're going to have the Roar as well again in a second. And they still don't have to worry about a Tiny for 70 seconds.
It's so hard to play against AM as a Rubik in this game. He lifted himself, and the AM's shield blocked it, so effectively he just stuns himself and dies. And you can't kill Ace anymore.
Logic goes in, sort of baits out the combo. It's going to mean EVOS in trouble, those. He just gets focused instead. Ace blinks forward. Facehugger back in. It's just the two of them. They'll try with a Reaper side, but it's an incredibly early one. The BKB is out, but the Abyssal Blaze down onto Facehugger. A leap again to keep the distance. Ace has the Mana Void down onto the Necrophos. As GG is called, NiP will take game 1 of this 2-game series against EVOS. As the anti-mage draft is a success, Ace and the boys get away with it. An incredible amount of farm and became that beast that we were always worried about if EVOS were going to be able to deal with. And as it came to be, they just couldn't.
Just like they drew it up, textbook. I mean, that game is hard for NiP to lose, and I think that that's the position Peter likes to be in when he drafts. It's the same thing we saw with Optic all of last season. The games Optic looked the best. You have Pycat on this win condition hero, Morphling, Terrorblade, etc., where it feels like if he doesn't throw or die 2 or 3 times in the early game, it's just going to be free. You follow the script.
I mean, considering that first game as well, obviously coming into it, we knew that EVOS were going to have a tough time. They are sort of the underdogs in this matchup. What do you take away if you're sort of EVOS looking at that game in terms of what was good? What you're saying, we did this pretty well, let's try this again in game 2.
I thought the rotations were excellent. It's just the 10th pick. Like, if you pick something that can address the anti-mage and actually be a threat, you know, when he rotates top, like something that can follow him around the map and kick him out of the lane. If you don't have that, you're going to lose. Like 9 times out of 10, if not 95 out of 100. And I think if you run this back, just, you know, give your players a way to win. Have an answer to the, I almost said Optic lineup, but to the NiP lineup. And you play like that, they did well.
They did. They had a good opening. Let's see if they can sort of patch it up and step out with something great game 2, because they'll certainly need to. NiP looking very strong, taking game 1 in this 2-game series against EVOS.
Thank you very much, OD Pixel Car. We'll return, of course, to our commentators for game number 2 in this best of 2 series, the final series of day number 1 here at ESL One Hamburg. And NiP forge ahead after a tough battle, it has to be said. The first 20 minutes, EVOS, you know, held their own. They did what we said they would do, actually, Trent. They know how to play the lanes. They can do the simple stuff. When it really came to the big team fights, though, they started to lose quite heavily.
I mean, they came out swinging, though. They got all 4 of the first bounty runes, couple of kills to boot, and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe something could happen here. Maybe EVOS are actually going to do it. But fell apart pretty quickly.
It was kills that were so unpredictable that Pimp missed like at least 3 by like the first 5 kills. It was like, oh, we see Beastmaster down to 20% health. No need to look there anymore. He must have got an arrow on aim or something like that. But yeah, it was really just that aim was uncountered. That game, once he got Ags, he was almost impossible to die. He just basically did whatever he wanted. It looked like the freest anti-mage game, and Ace was super up to the challenge, just won it all.
And that's something he's been very good at identifying in the past. I remember we were asking him questions about that in a previous tournament, but like, so why are you like, tell us about Lincolns versus Ags, and he's someone who like really looks at that in the drafting phase, and I think this is one of those games where that might have even been like one good reason to go for the anti-mage period, was because not only did they have a bunch of magic damage already lined up, but it was all single target. There was just no way to kill him.
Stats on screen, which they kind of tell a story in a way. NiP obviously coming out on top, particularly highlight the ace stats. 13, 1, and 7 for the unkillable anti-mage on that particular team. EVOS, they did put up a few decent stats. There's a couple of good ones in their Facehugger in particular, 8, 2, and 7 on the Mirana standing out for his team. So they did have some highlights, Kevin.
Yeah, they all did really well, actually. I don't think I saw too many bad plays by any means. I agreed with Kyle that the Beast technically it would have been better for it to be a different hero, something that could beat anti-mage, but they needed to do like roars into long distance arrows while killing that guy. I felt like that was one of their only solutions, and they did have like a medallion on Undying, but that was probably late, and they didn't really have that much physical damage. Mirana also got a Maelstrom. Maybe she should have gone for a physical damage item instead, for example, but it's hard to say she can farm as fast that way. So just like the aim pick was just so good. So good that game.
It was very good. And it's hard to, we're talking about like, oh, they should have picked a different hero, but like, I can't really tell you what
I was going to say, which one would it have been is the key, like, isn't it? Because that Beastmaster was still relatively effective throughout the game.
And I think the way they probably viewed it is like, to me, the way I saw winning that game, or at least having a good shot at, was some sort of an earlier push, or at least not necessarily ending the game early, but taking enough space off the map that anti-mage can't do his thing. And I think maybe they thought of that, and they thought like, but we also need like a stun. So it's like, oh, Beastmaster has like really heavy push early with creeps and stuff, and then we have like a single target stun. Maybe we can hunt him down. We have vision with the Hawk. Like that all kind of checks out, but the lane matchup was very poor.
I mean, we've spoken about this before, Kevin, numerous times about when you have the last pick in the draft, the 10th pick, it's got to be a game-winning pick, isn't it?
Yeah, it helps a lot for sure. If it's the one thing that your opponents don't anticipate. But once the AM pick was locked in, it already felt like the enemy lineup was screwed. Like maybe I was a little biased because I know that Ninjas of Pajamas is going to be the better team, but it felt very clear to me that there's 4 heroes that do not deal with anti-mage super well. So the 5th one's got to be magical, and then they still get another pick after that to also make the AM even better than they want to. So it just felt like that with the Ags being so good against the single target abilities just really was a perfect AM game.
MVP, there's only really one MVP for the particular game, but that's the ace man himself. 13, 1, and 7 in this particular game. I can't really pick anything else in the game, can you?
You want to give credit for sure. Like I think Fada bounced back quite a bit after being targeted so heavily on the Invoker and everything. But I mean, in the end, look at this guy. Like 66% kill participation, pretty good for an AM. Perfect itemization. Really can't ask for anything else.
Yeah, decent GPM. 895 is not up there with the 1100s of the world that we've seen in some of the games in the past. But you know, 895, we'll let him off.
Yeah, this time.
Good.
Over in the other streams, just to give you a quick update as well, because the other games are still going on. You can go and see VP versus Asta over on stream B right now. That one is still in game 1. It's gone 40 minutes plus. In that particular game, I can see that no one is on a sniper in that game as well. You want to watch that. That's a lot of fun. Complexity, by the way, are ahead over on Stream C right now. They've taken the first game off Forward Gaming. Now, that throws the group into all sorts of consternation now because we don't really know who's got the advantage because of those 2 teams at 1-0. And even if it ends at 1-1, it's still a fantastic result for Complexity. They are in the draft right now over on Stream C. Let's just wrap up on this game right now, because in a way, and I don't want to be mean to EVOS because I think they put up a decent fight in that first game, but it's kind of have an inevitable kind of 2-0 written all over it before we started the series. Is that how you see it still, or have you got something from that game from EVOS that thinks, no, actually they've got something about them?
I think it was a pretty tough draft to play against with the anti-mage looking so good. And even early game, like with the Chen and stuff, I feel like they did better than I expected, honestly, at the beginning. So maybe if they have something a little bit more even draft-wise, then perhaps they could find the game. Of course, we're going to assume that NiP are going to win both games. There's not really much question there, but I'm more hopeful after that game.
I am as well. It just kind of looked to me like the 4 runes and the 2 deaths before rune spawn. It kind of felt like NiP was so confident that they just were kind of messing around a little bit. We're like, oh, we'll be a little bit more aggressive than normal, not go for these trades against better players. And they lost some heroes and they were behind in net worth for like 10 minutes, but eventually AM got to be AM. So it kind of felt like they knew they had the draft that was going to be fine. They just bought space appropriately, and then they just slowly outplayed their opponents. It just delayed the game by like 10 minutes.
A little bit of overconfidence, maybe?
I think there was some overconfidence, but I don't think it's a big deal in that case, because they still confidently won. It just might matter in time rating if there's like a crazy, super elongated tiebreaker that goes 5 levels down, but it's unlikely that it'll matter.
Yeah. All right, thanks very much, gents. Let's head to a break then. Our last break of the day, of course. We're going to head into our final match of the day, the final game of the day between these two. Can EVOS claim a point from NiP? We'll find out very shortly.